Hi, let's take a look at SharePoint 2010-2013 XSLT ListView Webparts. And this is my blog, and this tutorial is part of my blog, and here's the URL. I'm going to follow this blog through and then try creating a Dataview Webpart in SharePoint 2013 using a SharePoint Designer. So this is the blog that I'm going to follow, and down at the bottom, if you scroll down, you're going to see some links for some of the links which are related with the XSLT ListView Webpart and the Dataview Webpart. And this link over here is going to show you differences between a data form Webpart as well as an XSLT ListView Webpart. So let's go ahead and follow this through. Open up SharePoint Designer 2013, and I'm going to click on Site Pages. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new page, which is an ASPX page. Give it a proper name, contacts, using Dataview. Open it up, right click on it, and then click on Edit File in Advanced Mode and open it up. This opens up the contents of the ASPX page, which is HTML and and any ASP.NET coding which is in here. For the most part, this is just a plain simple HTML page. So, and with form tags. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. The reason why I'm gonna go ahead and remove this and add some content, add some of the content which I'm going to go through in a second, is because if I run this by clicking on this preview in the browser icon, this opens up blank. The reason, and when I say blank, I mean to say that there is no master page behind it. There is no left navigation, there is no top navigation. So the whole branding of my site is not part of this page at all. So I'm going to go ahead and close this and modify the contents of this page so that my branding, which is the left nav, the top nav, any of the colors which I have on the page, would appear on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of this content, and I'm going to copy in some pretty generic content which I always use, and I'm going to go through this in a second over here. So this basically registers this page with SharePoint. Let's go ahead and close this window on the right side. The first tag over here, the first register tag that you see over here, this is the page, and this describes that this is an ASP.NET page, and it uses C# language behind the scenes. And then it has the master page file, and it points to the master page behind this page. The master page is responsible for the top, left, and the entire branding of the entire site. As you know, every single page uses a master page for branding. So this is basically pointing to the default.master page under the master URL, which is prefixed with the tilde. Now let me go ahead and explain to you what this means. This basically means that this is part of this is a very specific path which is pointing to the root folder, and it points to the location where the master pages are stored within the hive folder. And this basically means that whatever is the default master page of the site is going to be the master page. Whatever master page has been configured for the site is going to be the master page for this page as well. Now the second tag over here starts with register, and it's basically registering some SharePoint namespaces and some SharePoint controls in here, just to make sure that this page is registered as a content page using a master page within SharePoint. And this register tag has to be part of the header, has to be added, and has to be part of the header if you want to have a content page which is using a master page. In fact, both these two have to be added to the top if we want to create a master page. Now, with just nothing in here, I'm going to go ahead and run this page. And before I run this page, these two tags over here basically indicate the content placeholders. So any content that you want to write within the page, which is going to be right in the middle of the page, is going to be part of this content placeholder. And the name of this content placeholder is placeholder main. Eventually, when we dig into the master page, or those of you who already understand the master page, you're going to see that all these content placeholders are defined in the master page. And what we do in the content page, like this page, is just override this content placeholder with the content that you want. So if I just go ahead and write down just generic text like, hey, this is a content page displaying XSLT functionality. Okay, I hit on save, and let's go ahead and preview this page in the browser. And this is how my page looks like. And this is the text that I added. Hey, this is the content page displaying XSLT functionality. So the top navigation, the left navigation, the SharePoint branding up in the top, all of this is coming from the master page. This is the only section which is being overwritten by this content page, because we have clearly mentioned over here that we're using this content placeholder ID, which again, this indicates that we overriding the contents of the master page which are contained within this content placeholder, and we are replacing that with the content that I'm adding over here. So now let's go ahead and take this out, and let's go ahead and do some serious work over here. Click on insert, and you're gonna see these icons over here, data view, in the ribbon, which is data view, related item view, and all of these over here. And on the right, you're gonna see Webpart and Webpart zone. Okay, so hit on save, and when you hit on save, you're gonna see that some of these buttons over here, they lighten up so that you can start using them. So if you notice then that data view is all lightened up, so is the Webpart zone, and so is the Webpart, and so is the Webpart zone. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and add a data view, and it's going to be the contact data view. Okay, click on contact, and it adds this XSLT code over here. It just fills up with a lot of XSLT code over here. And everything that I added over here, starting from here, if you look at this, it says Webpart pages and it says XSLT ListView Webpart. So this is basically the XSLT ListView Webpart that this is the code behind the XSLT ListView Webpart, which you add on any page by clicking on Insert Webpart, and then you select that app. The XSLT which is being added is this. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and preview this in the browser again. You haven't saved any changes. Would you like to save your changes? And I say yes. So let's go ahead and preview this real fast. And this is what it shows. Okay, now one thing which is missing from here is basically ability to add new records. So I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna go ahead and add Webpart zone here. This page does not have Webparts, so I'm gonna add a Webpart zone here, and now it becomes it's now able to add Webparts within this page. So this is the code that it adds, which is a Webpart zone, and along with that it adds this line as well, which is the Webpart manager. This is the Webpart manager which manages all the Webparts. So we're gonna go ahead and copy our XSLT ListView Webpart, which is from the beginning as XSLT ListView Webpart tag till the end XSLT ListView Webpart. So I'm going to copy this whole thing, cut it here, and the only thing that I'm left right now is just this piece of code, which is the Webpart zone. And so the Webpart zone tags start from here all the way till here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the end, and right in the middle over here, I'm going to go ahead and insert the XSLT ListView Webpart code. So which basically means that the XSLT ListView Webpart is now part of Webpart zone tags, starting from here and ending till here. Hit on save. And hit on preview. And now I get my to item or edit this list, new item or edit this list. Okay. So anyway, so this is how I can go ahead and create my add an XSLT ListView Webpart to a brand new page. What is the advantage of this? There's a lot of advantages. I can modify the code over here. I can do a lot of modifications. So this is more kind of like free programming that I can just change the whole layout. This is by default. This is the XSLT ListView Webpart that gets added every single time you edit the page and then insert and add Webpart. This is really the Webpart that gets added. In the next session, we're going to see how we can apply a filter on the top of this, and see how we can go ahead and enable this list to have filters.